Hello everybody, this is Sarah Estelle here. Welcome to my live stream today. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about pricing. What a glorious topic to talk about, and I know from people that come on my courses, from the live trainings that I give, from all my experience of working with healers, that it's one of the big things that holds us back. And this happened to me too, and on occasions still does. So what I'm going to share with you during this live stream are my 3 top tips for helping you get more clarity on how you charge in your business. I hear so often, I don't know how to charge. I don't know where to start. My clients can't afford me. I know that I have amazing healing gifts, but people keep saying no. I drop my prices, but people still can't afford me. How can I share my gifts with the world? Because it's not viable. I've got to go back to my day job. Now, I understand all of this totally, because it was how I was as well. I gave myself away literally for years and actually became very burned out and poorly because of it. And then slowly over the years, much of it through taking flower essences and working on myself and allowing myself to regenerate, I started to find my way forward. And if you don't know me, I now live in the southwest of France with my family, and my business completely sustains us here in France. And that wasn't like that about 5 years ago in the UK at all. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 of the things that I have done personally and continue to do, and also that I teach to people that come on my courses. So please say hi when you watch, whether you're watching live or whether you watch the replay. It's always nice to know who you're talking to. And if you'd like to ask questions, you're very welcome. Just pop them in the chat box. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is, first of all, just overviews. The first tip is all about how, when we do this kind of work, it's really important that we focus on the transformation that we offer and come away from looking at the price. So it's all about you knowing your uniqueness. Second thing that I'm going to talk about is how the importance of actually coming away from the therapist model of pricing. And I'll explain that to you as I get to it. And then finally, I'm going to talk to you all about how it's very much an inside job. And what I mean from that, 80% of all decisions we make as healing business owners come from how we feel about ourselves deep inside. So yes, charging is all about self-worth. And about worthiness. So I'm going to share with you 2 flower essences that could be helpful for you, and I hope that they will help you just get a little bit more insight. I'll also share with you in the comments below this, once I've finished, some live training that I'm running right now. You can sign up by putting your name in the box below if you'd like to find out more. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the importance of coming away from the label that we are and towards the transformation that we offer. So if you're listening to this, I know that you are a healer with a very special gift. You may be a flower essence therapist like me. You may be a reflexologist or an aromatherapist. You might be a Reiki healer or a crystal healer or an EFT practitioner or some other kind of amazing energy healing. Now, I know you know that the world needs what you do more than anything else right now. And the market for complementary therapies is huge, absolutely huge. So we're in this kind of weird situation where most healers aren't earning enough from what they do to sustain themselves. So they're either doing other day jobs, or maybe they've even given up. I hope that's not like that for you, but I understand, because I've been in those dark places too. So we have this situation where healers aren't finding ways to to be paid their worth, but at the same time the world really, really, really needs what we have to offer, because it's only by changing the deep energy patterns inside that we're going to walk forwards. So a lot of my work is about changing those energy patterns and holding a brand new template for us all to walk forwards. And that's what I do in Create a Magical Business. So one of the very first things that we need to do is to come away from this way of seeing ourselves as through labels. So for example, if I'm a flower essence practitioner, although I very rarely give consultations anyway now, because my work is focused on training. I train others to give those consultations through the flower essence diploma that I run. But let's just use me as an example. Now, if I put myself out there as a flower essence practitioner and say that's what I do, and I attempt to explain how flower essences work, I'm going to get a kind of glazed over feeling happening, and most people won't really understand what they do. So what I need to do is to really tap in to the life-changing aspects of taking flower essences. And anybody who commits to taking a journey, whether it's flower essences with crystal, Reiki, EFT, you know that through the training courses that you've done, your life has changed immeasurably. And you're a different person at the end of your course than you are at the beginning of your course. Now that is the information, that's the space that we need to be looking at. And as you have gone through your training and worked with clients, if you look at that quite deeply, you'll find that there are a certain kind of client that you do really, really well with. So all businesses, there's a meeting point in the middle. It's where, for it to be a business at the end of the day, you have to be being paid. Otherwise, as you know, it's a hobby. So a little bit of a very simple equation is your business begins to work when you find clients who are willing to pay what you are worth so that you can sustain yourself, and that meets your joy. So have a think back at the times when you have been paid, maybe not enough, maybe not your worth, but you have received money in exchange with a client you've done fabulous work together. They have really, really transformed, and you had a blast at the same time and came away, your energy was high and you felt really, really good. And you just thought, yeah, that's what I'm here on this planet for. So have a think about that. Where were those times? And have a think about what kind of person lies underneath that. What is the transformation that you truly, truly offer? So if I give you an example of myself, so as I shared right at the beginning, come from a background of low self-worth, not doing what I was here to do on the planet, being stuck in unhappiness and life circumstances, being very sensitive to the world around me. And it was only when I started to really look at the self-worth patterns below what I was doing and to really start to step into my own gifts in the world that things started to change for me. Now, therefore, that's the space that I know how to hold. I know how to hold space for healers or anybody who aspires to be a healer, to journey through the emotions that have come through their life, to find those gifts, find those jewels in the leaves that have fallen over autumn. That's what I know how to do because it's been my life journey. So it's very easy for me to just naturally hold that space, understand, empathize, and really just, shine a light so that people can walk on their paths forward. So other clients of mine, I have somebody in the Empowered Healer course who has suffered from very low energies, so a kind of ME type situation, chronic fatigue syndrome. Now that she has rejuvenated herself with her own therapies, she now supports others in doing that. There's another person on my Empowered Healer course who went through a very, very deep spiritual awakening about 5 or 6 years ago, following many years of depression. And now she teaches people how the importance of owning our own unique energies. So those are just a couple of examples. So think deeply about your own life path, what you have experienced, where the clients that have come through your practice, or maybe even as case studies if you haven't got a healing business yet, exactly what is that? So, so that's what you need to focus on, the transformation. See if you can come away from yourself as being a therapist, come away from the label. That is literally just the label. And it doesn't mean to say you have to not do those things. Of course I use flower essences in my business. Of course I do, because it's who I am. But they are my tools. They're not who I am. The lady that I spoke to you about who works with energy recovery, she works with many different modalities, but then it's not, she doesn't describe herself as her tools. She describes herself as a specialist in helping people recover their energy. I help healers transform their lives and businesses into successful and thriving practices. How do I do that? By using my own energies, by using my own empathy, and by using the tools that I learned myself and pass on to others. So if you're watching this, and I can see that a few people are, I'd love to hear how this makes sense to you. Please do share, either now live or via the replay, what you feel your underlying gift is. And that's where you need to start focusing with your clients. Focus on that transformation, not the labels. So what is it that you really do? Who is it that you truly are? Okay, so that's my point one. My second point is all about the importance of coming away from the therapist role of, therapist way of marketing yourself. And by the way, if you are making comments and I can't see them and I'm not acknowledging them, my apologies. You may or may not, that Facebook live stream doesn't, or it depends on quirks of Facebook and internet connections, whether you see them live or whether you see them afterwards. So apologies to you if you're talking to me and I can't see your comments. So second one was all about coming away from the therapist way of charging and moving towards a different way of charging. Let me explain that to you. So as therapists, you may work from a center, you may work from home. And let me just give you an example. Let's say you live in, I don't know, I'm just going to make this up, a town. It doesn't have to have a name. You live in a town and it's a fairly small town, not a village, but it's not a big city. In that town, there's maybe 3 or 4 reflexologists. So somebody hears, I know that reflexology really helps with XYZ. I'd love to experience some. So they Google and they find a list of 4 people who give reflexology, and you're one of them. And they go and have a little look if they can find out information about them. Now, most therapists would say something like, my name is XYZ, I offer reflexology, these are my times of practice, and this is where I practice. And that's pretty much it. That's the basic information. Now, all those people looking for reflexology, all they can go on is by maybe how close you live to them, whether your times are suitable for them, but mostly they're going to see what you charge, because most healing centers and most therapists tend to put their prices first and foremost. Now, that's not necessarily a problem, by the way, but I want you to just try and start seeing that it therefore becomes a little bit like a commodity. Say you want petrol for your car. So if you've got a petrol station that sells exactly the same petrol a mile down the road, and it's cheaper, you might well go to that other petrol station. So can you see that it starts bringing what we do into a kind of commodity space, and people start to make decisions based on how much they have to pay, rather than, wow, there's 4 reflexologists. Now I wonder which one can help me most with how I'm feeling. I wonder which one has got the most experience and who I would really enjoy meeting, because she or he really truly understood me and therefore held a beautiful space of healing for me. Now, can you see how completely different that is? And that's what I mean by a therapist way of charging. We need to come away from that and to start, it's very linked to the first point I made, come away from charging, coming away from seeing ourselves as having labels, and coming away from and and walking towards the transformation. So once we do that, and once the transformation is open to people, then they are much, much less likely to focus on the price. So let's say you come back to this 4 reflexologists in your town, and one of those reflexologists, she might say she's a reflexology, she might be in a healing center, but she happens to say, you know, my background is in helping people recover their energy because, you know, 5 years ago I was XYZ, and with the help of reflexology or whatever modality it is, now I'm blah, blah, blah. And it talked a little bit about myself. My practice focuses on those kinds of people. Now, you might have a tendency to think, oh no, I haven't got enough clients already. So if I narrow down what I'm trying to do and start finding a specialization, I'm going to have even fewer clients. Now, when I first heard that, I had a lot of resistance to it. So you might have too, but believe me, I know for sure that the more you specialize, the more chance that you're going to get of getting clients. So I hope that's been helpful for you. Okay, so my last point is, I'm just going to share with you, because I'm a flower essence practitioner and because I train people to use essences, they're very dear to my heart. I want to show you a couple of essences that might help you, because at the end of the day, this is all about self-worth. Whenever we think about money, whenever we think about how much I'm going to charge, I understand completely that it might press all your buttons, because I know it did mine. But I also know that the more you really value who you are, remember my first point, and then help people to make the right choices by not focusing on price and kind of thinking, oh my goodness, reflexology, I can't charge £40 because everybody else in my area charges £30. So, but actually, and I'll share a little story with you before I share the flower essences. When I first started running the flower essence diploma, which was about 8 years ago actually, I asked for a very small amount. And that was based on comparison, because I'd gone online and I'd seen what other people were offering it. Now this low price that I'm talking about was actually more than others, but it was still quite low. And I was overjoyed when people came on and said, wow, I want to join in. So I was absolutely delighted when they did that. But I also saw after a few months that I was giving an extraordinary amount of time, wisdom, knowledge to people over a period of 2 years for a low investment. So with the help of my business mentor, and this was a terrifying experience for me, I actually tripled my prices. And there was a part of me that kind of thought that there's no way people are going to come on my courses now, because, you know, I'm going to be thrown out as somebody who's charging far too high prices. And I told myself all these silly stories. What actually happened was, it was that at that point that my diploma began to work much, much better. And what happened was, because I was charging a much more realistic investment for what I was offering, so here I was offering very advanced materials at tiny prices. And as soon as I made that more equal, I started to attract to me people who had no problems about the investment. It may have been a tiny bit of a stretch for them, but they were up for that because they wanted to do it. And also they were professionals. And so, meaning that they were healers who already had their own practices, and all of a sudden everything changed. So it could be too that maybe not that you need to put your prices down, but you might actually have to put them up. So a bit of an interesting scenario, but for me it was absolutely true. If our prices are too low, people are going to think maybe that we're not charging enough and wonder who on earth we are. Here's this advanced whatever, and they're only charging this low amount. So it's something to bear in mind, but this is very, very tied in with self-worth. So as soon as I did all the things that I'm sharing with you and really started looking at the huge transformational offers that I was making, people who came to work with me were having huge life-changing shifts in their lives. And of course they were, because they were the things that I had experienced myself, and I was passionate about offering it. Everything changed because my self-worth had changed. So here are 2 essences that I've worked with that might also help you. So this is from the Fox Mountain range of essences. You just need to Google that and you'll find out all about it. And it's called Worthiness. It's a lovely, lovely essence. And we're not just talking about self-worth in terms of charging as a therapist here. We're talking about self-worth in all areas of life. If, for example, I don't have self-worth as a business owner, I'm not going to have self-worth in any area of my life. So if you just start work, it's a little bit like I was saying at the beginning, if we come away from the investment side and start working on the deeper levels. So here are some essences that could really, really help you. So worthiness, it's all about just really connecting with that deep sense in you, the parts of you that don't feel worthy, and just starting to heal that. So that's the very first one. I've seen a couple of comments, so I will come on and say hi and look in a second. The second one is from my own range, which is called Moonflower Essences. Now this is a beautiful orange rose. So can you see how relevant this is to charging as healing business owners? We need to be open to receive. So if there's been a part of our life where we've closed down, maybe something happened, maybe nothing to do with being a healer, maybe something happened as a child, or maybe even in past lives when we've had some kind of trauma and we have actually closed our hearts to receiving. Not just money, but just receiving. So this is usually very true for healers. They love to give, but it's much more difficult for them to receive. And I understand. So many, many years ago, Orange Rose, so this is from my own range, Moonflower Essences. I'll pop a link below this for you. Came to me and helped me with this and actually asked me to start opening to receive and gave me some beautiful messages around that. The other essence that could help you as well, in the courses that I run, I work with the system of sacred money archetypes. And this is the nurturer archetype. And actually it's an essence that I've created from this. But nurturers, by very virtue of their name, many healers are nurturers because they just love to give. You know, if nobody wants to pay for my service, never mind. I'll just give it anyway. That's what I used to do. And of course, I went into burnout and my self-worth also dropped through the floor. So nurturers, it all about helps you get some good boundaries in place. And of course, price is a boundary. So see if you can think about it a little bit like that. So this is called Nurturer. It's on my website, the Moonflower Essences site, and I will pop you a link to it right now. There's actually 20% off this essence right now. So I'll also pop that coupon in. So if you were to buy that, you'd also get 20% off that because 20% is off the whole shop right now. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me just pop my glasses on so that I can see the comments. So Janice is here. Hello, Janice. Lorraine is here and Diane is here. Thank you. So if there's anybody else watching, I'd love to know what I've shared with you today that has resonated with you. Which of the points really helped you? So i.e. focusing on your transformation, coming away from the focus on the therapist model, and then just deeply looking at your self-worth. They all interweave and come together. So I'm also going to pop below this, on this live stream in the comments, a training that you can attend. If you have enjoyed today's live stream and you want to know a little bit more about what I do, then you're very, very welcome to join this training. I will pop this link below. So I can see lots of hearts and smiles going through. So blessings to you. Please pop me a comment. I'd love to know what spoke to you most. Until next time, and remember, pricing is not what you think it is. It's really an inside job, but also there's some practical things you can do as well. Okay, until next time, many blessings. Bye-bye.